All right, y'all. Based on my expertise as a staffing specialist and a business strategist, here are some things I think you should consider when voting for the President of the United States, because essentially we're hiring him for the job. Okay, let's go. All right, guys, I decided that I'm going to treat you guys like one of my clients, and I'm going to treat this as if this is one of my business consults so that you could really make a logical decision. So this is only for my business people, my logical minded people, the people who like actually look at the facts and really want to make a wise business choice. I'm a real life business strategist. This is a real life business consult. Hold on, let me warm up my tea. So get your pen and paper. I did one that was kind of facetious, but I said, you know what? Let me be real with these people for 2 seconds and see if that works. So give me a minute. Give me 1 minute. All right. So I'm not going to go back over their resumes or my closing arguments. I'll like that video and that video. So you can go find them there on my page. But what I'm going to talk about is the facts. So reality is, both of these candidates have valid points, regardless of whether you like them or not. Trump has some policies and stances and views that I completely agree with, that I think as a presidential candidate would be phenomenal if he implemented those. Kamala also has some political stances, points of views, and policies that I agree with. However, they both have some political stances and policies that I do not agree with. So what do we do here when we get to a point where we have two good candidates, but we don't know how to choose? What's the determining factor? In my closing arguments, I made a joke about kindness, but I wasn't joking. But so one, that's when you come off of the paper and you look at the characteristics of the person. What does it take to fulfill this role and or this office? Okay, what has been the precedent? If something could use change, how could it use change? And can this person bring this type of change? All right, so then you go to look at the history of the people and the persons for whatever job it is. And I know you've heard of character hires before. Okay, so when I'm at a place in a hiring process or when I'm trying to make a good business decision and what's on paper, okay, it could go either way on paper. Then I look at, again, the office. So the office of presidency has always held and always required a state of decorum. This is going to sound like a tangent or a rant, but it's not. It's an example. So I went to law school, and when you're in court, you have to dress a certain way, you have to speak a certain way. In certain courts, like, it's either a standing or a sitting jurisdiction. So, but you have to know the rules of that, of that jurisdiction, of that court, in order to be able to even move in that court, to be able to practice law in that court. There's a certain decorum required as per the way you dress. You cannot be an attorney and go to court. Well, you can, but most people wouldn't hire you. It's the outfit. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's the costume for that role. Okay, understand this. So if I'm hiring for an attorney, and they have to, and on paper they both look the same, I'm then going to go to that person themselves. Okay, so physically, if you came to an interview, one got a suit on and one got a pair of jeans on, I'm probably going to go with the one with the suit on, because at least I know they own a suit, and if they go to court, they're going to be able to respect the decorum. They respect the rules. They respect the practice of law and what it takes. When it comes to presidency, there's a decorum that has been set precedent, and there's a decorum that's always needed. So if I look at the two candidates and I say, hey, okay, as per the decorum portion of this job listing or these job responsibilities? Does this person meet this? As per me, for me, Donald Trump does not. One of my biggest issues with Donald Trump is he does not listen, where Kamala does. So even as far as him, he gets on and tell you he doesn't listen. He says that my advisors advised me not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's very dangerous to put somebody in the office who does not listen to anybody. I don't care how good what you say on paper is, you don't listen to anybody. Like, even if, like, on any of these stances, he won't budge. And while we need somebody who won't budge, sometimes we don't need someone who doesn't budge all the time. So the ability to listen is something. So decorum, Trump's missing that. The ability to listen, Trump's missing that. Decorum, especially in extremely high and unkind times, how someone takes criticism and how someone takes when someone is dead wrong, abuse, mistreatment, how humbly they take it, how they gracefully take it, that matters, because as the president, you're going to lose. How do you take defeat? Trump can't take defeat. Kamala Harris, she can take defeat even when she isn't wrong. That's important to me. So that's how I begin to check these people off. What else can I say about the two? How else are they different? What else would I consider as I wanted to hire one of these to be my president, one of these people to think for me, act for me, speak for me? Even though I do disagree with Kamala's stances of free sex changes for inmates. I understand the importance of that, but you in jail get punished. Why you get some free and it's a bunch of people out here? However, that's overruled by her decorum. And at the end of the day, if she gets into office, at least we'll be able to talk to her. At least, listen, I worked on the House floor as a clerk. And shout out to John Bell Edwards, who then became the governor. He was a representative at the time, but he then went on to become a governor, the governor of Louisiana. But I clerked for him, and one of the things I always loved about him is he listened to his constituents. Always. Always. And he literally was always on the phone with his constituents. John Bell Edwards will go down in history as one of the best governors in Louisiana. I appreciate anyone who could have that characteristic. Also, just a person who is able to take accountability, because if you can't take accountability, I think that's important as a person who's going to run the White House, because listen, you got to be able to say, oh, that was fucked up, I can't do that again, or it isn't fucked up and I do want to do it again. But if you can't even do that, how can I expect you to protect my best interest when you don't even take accountability? So things like those things, I don't know, people don't consider that when hiring, but they should. And most often, they only consider it when it's something like this. But all of those are things that matter. Is someone teachable? Is someone coachable? Is someone trainable? They might not have it all now, but do they have the ability to get it, or to go get it, or to attain it, or to change, or to grow? And I think that's the very difference between these two candidates. While both of them have very intricate and good stances and policies, and while some of them do not have good stances and policies, I think Kamala wins in the decorum department. And I think that's something that's necessary. So under decorum, you have to be able to listen. You have to know when to speak, when not to speak. You have to know when to let up and when not to let up. You have to know how to lose gracefully. You have to know how to listen to people. And I think that overrides a whole bunch of other stuff, because even if she gets all of those other things wrong, she's willing to listen. I think if she fails in that sense, if she fails in those moments, she's going to be able to look at that and say, I failed. Okay, I won't do that again. Whereas Donald Trump, and that's the biggest thing, he can't even say he failed when it's, you know what I'm saying? So imagine that leading and running your country. So that's how I would pitch to one of my clients, and then I would let them make their own decisions. I hope this was helpful for you, and that's why I'm going to be voting for Kamala. But You're welcome. Hire